Michael, North Carolina, you're in the Wilkow majority. Hello.
Yeah, I want to ask you about the idea that everybody does not have a right to education. That is, of course, an extremely ignorant position.
Okay, before you tell me I'm ignorant, tell me where I can flip into the United States Constitution and I'll find a right to an education.
Well,
no, Michael, I'm the ignorant one, so you tell me where I can find it as the ignorant fool that I am. I'll go where you direct me.
Well, let's say, why don't we just start with life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, if you want a phrase to attach it to.
No, I want to know in the vein of law, not the preamble. I want to know where in the law of the Constitution you have the right to create debt for another person because you have the right to an education. Tell me where your existence creates debt for another person.
Where does it say in the Constitution?
I didn't, Michael. You're not doing the tangent game. We're not playing the tangent game. You said I was ignorant. You said I asked you where in the supreme law of this country do you find that right?
Well, I'm calling to ask you.
No, you called me ignorant. You called me ignorant. I would like you to instruct me where I could flip to the United States Constitution and find your right to bill me for your education. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm waiting for you to shut up so I can talk.
Well, no, I'm not going to shut up, Michael, because I'm not. You called up and called me ignorant. Well, so let's go one step further. Michael, I'll put the Constitution to the side. Hold on, Michael. Michael, I will put it to the side. Michael, I'm putting the Constitution to a side here for a second. You want to go outside the Constitution for the sake of this argument? We will. You exist, I exist. Do we agree on that?
Yes.
If you have the right to an education, how did I fall into debt to you?
Well, I'll tell you. Because if your children live in my community, I do not want them to grow up as ignorant as you.
That doesn't explain rights, though. That doesn't explain rights, though. Your desire is not a right. Your desire is not a right. I want to know where, and I'm willing to educate my own children. I want to know that if you believe you're entitled to an education, where you, by your existence, create a debt of burden to me and my existence.
I'm trying to say to you that not educating everybody's children is a loser for everybody.
But that does not denote a right, sir. That does not create a right.
Well, so how do you set up? You would like to.
If I own a restaurant and you're hungry, are you entitled to food?
Well, in this country, if you have no access to food, you do. There are places, including.
No, I'm talking about the right to it, sir. Not a social contract. Not charitable organizations. A right to something cannot be denied. Am I correct?
That's right. And
so if I have food and you're hungry, you have the right to take food from me because you have a right.
You have a right, if you are hungry, to apply for food stamps.
No. That could be denied, sir. Food stamps can be denied.
Not if you meet the criteria.
But no. You don't have. There's no right to a criteria. No, hold on, sir. When you have a right to something, there is no criteria. What? Let me ask you something. If there's criteria to exercise one's rights, what criteria must I meet to the freedom of speech?
Well, you have to be sure that the speech that you are choosing to use is not going to be dangerous or.
That's not true, sir. That's not true. That's content of the speech. I want to know what criteria I have to meet to exercise my freedom of speech. In other words, what is it about me that government would deny me the right to speak my mind?
Well, back to the issue of why I called to see you.
Okay, well, you went all over the place, and I tried to rein you back in. You really have nothing to say here. You cannot define to me where one person creates debt for another person based on their existence. Just define that for me.
Well, the whole concept of rights in America, both are based in constitutional rights, but don't you think that there are other rights that exist in our culture that are not part of the Constitution?
Like what?
The right to health care.
No. Where do you find that? Where do you find that? Tell me. Okay, let's do this again. Putting the Constitution to a side, you and I exist. Equal protection under the law. Where do you get the right to impose debt on me?
it sounds to me like you are not putting the Constitution aside.
No, I'm asking you, where does your human right to impose debt on me originate from?
The right for the common good of the community.
But there is no right to the common good of the community.
Why?
Where do you find it?
I mean,
you just basically think you're entitled to something, and you want to believe that it's your right to be entitled. I'm asking you as a human being, Michael, where you get the right to impose debt on me.
Well, some people would probably choose to find that right in the basis of the religion that they believe in.
But we have the First Amendment. We have the First Amendment, which prevents the government from establishing an official religion to which we'll be governed by. I'm asking you as a human being, once again, and I have to move on if you're not going to answer, where your existence creates debt for my existence. Okay, thank you very much for the call, Michael. Goodbye. This is something no liberal can answer. Where does your human existence create debt for my human existence? If you have the right to something and I have the responsibility to provide it to you, then I have a lower level of rights than you. If you have the right to create responsibility for me because you have a human right, then I don't have the equivalent level of human rights. Your existence creates burden for me. You have the right to be, I am your beast of burden. And I'll never be your beast of burden. This is it. This is where it comes down to. This is the logical conclusion. This is the linear extension of logic that these liberals cannot go to the end with. Where do you get the right to create burden for other people? If your existence begets a right to a physical product or the labor of another human being, where do you get that right from? Where do you, as someone who exists, get the right to a special categorization that creates burden to other people? If you have a right to food, then that means if I have a refrigerator full of food, I cannot deny you the right to enter my home and take that food.